Hi golfers, Nick here from American Golf down at the Aintree store. Today I have with me, finally got them, I only just got them in this week, the Taylormade M3, M4. So a lot of hype about these golf clubs, as always with Taylormade. They've continued the M theme. So from last year M1, M2 and the previous year, 16, they've now got M3, M4, which I think makes more sense. Obviously they had 2016 M1 and M2 and 2017 M1, M2. I think moving on M3, M4 is better. It's sort of easier to differentiate between the clubs. So there's actually 4 heads. So I've got the 2 standard 460 heads here. There's also an M3 440 head, and there's also an M4 D-type. So that's where the weight is slightly more heel based for a draw bias. But today we're just going to concentrate on the standard heads. So we've been given one of these by Taylormade, and this is to sort of help explain the twist face. I think Taylormade have done a really good job of marketing this. I think other clubs have done it in the past, but maybe not been as vocal about it or advertised it or marketed it as well as Taylormade. So this is obviously a big exaggeration on what the club looks like, because the club doesn't really look that different really. Obviously there's this big thing about the face being twisted. So basically, as you can see, in the toe here, it's bent backwards. So there's more loft at this point. And in the heel, it's bent inwards. So there's less loft at that point. Now in the studies that Taylormade have done, the research, they've found that the players that hit it high toe tend to come in with a closed face, so the ball misses left, and vice versa. People that hit off the heel tend to have an open face, so curves off. So when it's also, that would increase side spin and it would lose distance. So their theory is that putting more loft here is going to keep it more in play, and putting less loft in the heel is going to help that player keep it more in play. I guess it will come down to the individual, because I know I sometimes can hit it off the heel with a closed face, so I'm not sure that's going to help me particularly, but it may help me with some toe shots here and just not overdrawing it. So for me, maybe hitting it slightly out the toe might suit me a little bit better. So this is just a big exaggeration. If you actually look at the head, so I've got M3 here. It's very difficult to see. It comes in slightly at the heel here, less loft, and maybe slightly in the toe as well. So it's not as apparent as maybe you would think. So first glances looking at this golf club, I think it looks awesome. The colour scheme looks good. I think they've improved it from last year in terms of the cosmetics of the golf club, featuring the carbon. Obviously they've changed this from white to silver, which I think looks really classy. I think I do prefer the look of this from previous models. I think M3, M4, both of them look fantastic. So basically M3 replaces M1. M1 had the T-track system with 2 weights. This one has got a Y-track system. So these 2 11-gram weights, which you can move about. You can put these, loads of different options. So you can put them at the 2 back here, which will give you the most forgiving. Put them forward for the lowest spinning. You can put them both in the toe, both in the heel for a draw or fade. So you've got loads of options. That would be like the standard position. So one forward and one sort of middle back, if you like. So I'm just going to put the weights in sort of a standard position. I've got M3 9.5 head here. It's also featuring both heads, M3 and M4, the hammerhead technology, which is sort of like the little groove behind the face to help increase ball speed across the face. So Taylormade haven't necessarily marketed these clubs as going to go further than previous years, but they say there's going to be more ball speed across the face, and they're going to be straighter. So straight distance is how they're marketing these golf clubs. N4, great looking golf club. I'm really liking the look of this. So it features the geacoustic technology, which they had in the previous model. So M4 replaces M2. I think this is a better looking golf club. Looks, like I said earlier, it looks classy, the silver. So with the geacoustic, it's really sound based. So I'm expecting maybe a little different sound from M3 to M4, I'm not sure. Again, it features the twist face, very similar to M3. You can just about see a slight difference from a normal golf club. In M4, it's got the weight back in sort of the most highest launching, most forgiving setting, if you like, but that's not adjustable. The only adjustability you have in M4 is with the loft sleeve, as you've had in the previous models. So there's 2 stock shafts for these clubs. So M3 features the Mitsubishi Tensai shaft, and the M4 features the Fujikura Atmos shaft. Now, they're the standard shafts for those heads. but obviously there's custom made shafts as well. So we've got all the shafts here at American Golf, all different types of custom ones. We've got hazardous. I'm actually going to be using the Project X Even Flow today. At the moment, this is the shaft I'm really liking the feel of. So I've got the Project X Even Flow, 60 grams, 6.0 stiff. That's the shaft I'm going to be hitting both of these heads in. I'm not going to hit 440 or D-type today, so there'll be more testing to be done at some point. This is literally a first hit from me, just giving you an idea of what my first impressions are, what the technology is. I'm going to hit 5 shots on the GC quad with both golf clubs. We've got Pro V1 golf balls, and then afterwards we're going to sit down, take a look at some of that data. Okay, M3, first shot. Do really like this silver top here. I think it looks really nice. I think it's going to be better than the white. I think that can go a little bit off colour over time in the bag. Okay, felt pretty good. Should be just down the right with a little draw. It's trying to come back, isn't it? So pretty good distance, just over 290, what I sort of expect from most of these drivers. 159 ball speed, launch at 13, backspin 2.7, maybe a little bit higher the backspin. Also got these in the sort of default setting if you like. Felt pretty good again. 159 ball speed, nice and straight. Maybe not quite as long, just over 280 odd there. 159 ball speed, launch at 12, backspin 3000, so a bit low on the face, middle but low. Could be why the spin jumped up a little bit there. Okay, decent flight again. Didn't feel the best at, but it's got out there. Wow, wow, over 300, 305. Bit higher on the face, so just slightly toe, but higher on the face. Now the spin was down there, so it could be, you can see where I'm hitting them on the face, a little bit higher, maybe lower spin, potentially, but obviously not too high. 12.4 launch, 2000 backspin, 158 ball speed. Okay, good, just overdrawing slightly maybe. No, pretty good, pretty good. Liking this driver. Didn't get the distance there, 278 for some reason. A bit lower on the face, 157 ball speed, backspin up again. 13 launch, 3000 spin. Could be me. Last one. Just hitting a bit low on the face, I think. But I do tee up quite low, so I'm just going to peg this one a little bit higher. Could be where I'm hitting on the face. Not really had a lot of testing with these clubs, so it will be interesting. Try and get this a bit higher. Definitely higher. Just overdrawing slightly. Definitely higher, high toe-ish on the strike. 293 distance, so pretty good distance here from the M3. 157 ball speed. Yeah, the backspin was down there, so it's all about strike really. Obviously more testing to be done, but it's good for you guys to know, it's good for me to know. 13.6 launch, backspin 2000. So let's move on now, try the M4. So interested results here. You can see a bit low on the face, just spinning up a little bit for me. So I do tee it up quite low, so I need to probably take that into consideration. But didn't really get any off the toe or heel there for the twist face, so maybe another day to test that, but we've still got the M4 to go, to be fair. Still the same technology. So twist face, M4. Okay, so M4. It's pretty much identical, just got this little red accent on the back here, and obviously it says M4 here as well. Same setting, same shaft. Slightly different sound, but distance wise, so it wasn't the best swing. That 286 wasn't my best swing, I have to say. Ball speed 158, maybe a little bit low on the face, 12 launch, 2.4 backspin. Wasn't a great swing that, I have to say. Wasn't quite in the middle of that, but it's going all right. I think I prefer the feel of this one. That feels softer. Hard to say really. 162 ball speed, total 290. A bit low on the face. 10 launch, backspin 2.9. So it's definitely me catching a bit low. It's definitely a different pitch sound. I think I prefer this, you know. Sound wise, better strike, slightly higher on the face, distance wise 292, ball speed 159, launched at 15, backspin 28, definitely spinning it a lot today, so it's consistent with the clubs. Definitely a louder sound. Down the right, just trying to draw back. Similar to that last one, I'm just spinning it up a little bit. So it's definitely the way I'm hitting it. 160 ball speed, a little bit low on the face, 13 launch, backspin 3.4. A little bit higher than what I was expecting. Put one more. Definitely a higher pitch sound. That felt pretty good, that one. It's definitely straight, I have to say. Now, that's a better flight, more like what we expect to see. So around about 290 there, 160 ball speed, launched at 13, backspin 3000, still pretty high that. Let's take a look at the data. So you see me hit a few shots there on the quad. Very impressed with these drivers. I have to say, looks, feel great. I do prefer the sound slightly on M4. I think this G Acoustic's definitely got something, there's definitely something in that. Sounded really good, felt really good. Obviously I put those in the 9.5 standard settings with the Project X Even Flow 65 gram 6.0 shaft, and there's probably going to be more testing to be done here because the spin rates are a little bit high for me. I do spin it pretty high anyway, but certainly a lot higher than what I've had in recent reviews, but still got some good numbers. So take a look at some data here. Ball speed 158 M3, 159.9 M4. So I was getting more ball speed out of M4. Whether it's sort of slightly warmed up, I don't know, but it did feel better off the face. Now, before we carry on, let's have a look at some strikes here. So strikes were a little bit higher on M3. If you look at the data here on the screen, you can see a little bit lower on M4, but still the ball speed high for M4. So there was definitely something in that. In terms of my club data, very similar sort of path numbers, attack angles, launch numbers. The main difference really was probably the backspin was a tad higher on the M4. Could be just the way I struck it a bit lower on the face. Now going back to that, looking at the data again, so looking at some launch angles here, 12.8 M3, 12.5 M4, virtually identical. Backspin 2.6 M3, 2.9 M4, both of those a little bit higher than what I'd normally expect. Curvature of the ball, very similar, 399 average, 384 with M4, so very similar sort of average and curve. Standard deviation, very similar on the curve as well. Offline, slightly straighter with M3, and if you look at the range view, you can see that from the dispersion of the shots, and also the trajectory you can see with the M4 a little bit higher and sort of dispersion, and the peak height was a bit higher with M4. Even though I was hitting that a little bit low in the face, it was just spinning up a little bit too much for me. So the spin rates was a little bit higher with the M4 there. Moving on to the side spin, very similar sort of numbers here. You look down the table there, one up to 800 with both of them, but hardly any curve on the shot, which I like to see. So maybe the twist face definitely got something in it. Obviously I wasn't hitting them across the face. It's going to have to be some more testing to be done on the high toe, low heel, but in terms of the way I hit it, pretty impressed. Looking at the offline, slightly straighter, I would say, with the M3, a little bit tighter dispersion. You look at the range view as well, you can see definitely tighter dispersion in terms of direction wise. So a little bit straighter for me for M3, again, could be the way I hit it. Height wise, a bit higher with M4, and distance 290 M3 and 288 M4, so it could have been to do with the spin rates, but so there's more testing to be done. Obviously M3's got more adjustability in the back here with the Y slider, so maybe putting it further forward will lower the spin, maybe trying a different loft. There's also a 440 head that needs testing as well, so I'm going to do some testing with this. I'm going off to Spain this weekend. I'm going to play a bit of golf, I'm going to be on the range, I'm going to get some footage of me on the range and on the golf course, give you a bit more of a verdict. I'm going to take that even flow shaft, but I'm going to play around the loft, maybe go a little bit lower, sometimes suit a little bit lower flight. I do spin it up a little bit, down to my technique, I know. So I'm going to do some more testing, probably do another video next week with my findings, let you guys know what I think. But there's more testing to be done, but I have to say, looks and feel awesome. Distance is up there, just the backspin for me was a little bit high, but it could have been the way I hit it, could have been the settings, either the shaft or the head, the loft, I'm not sure. So more testing to be done, but really love these golf clubs, really awesome. We've got these in drivers, fairway woods, hybrids, we've got the irons as well. in all American golf stores, so maybe go and give them a go. I think they're awesome.
The most I can feel, I'm here and you're not. The ghost I feel.
Try and get this a bit higher. Twist face, M4.
For my benefit, maybe I should fight the feelings I left to waste.
So there's 2 stock shafts for these clubs.